So here we are with my planner that I'm already starting to get prepped and ready for 2020 because, well, it's December and that's what you do. You start getting your planners prepped. And my planner this year is, for the third year in a row, a Muji planner. I absolutely love this one. It is about what we consider an A5 size, and it has really great paper in it. And the biggest thing I love about it is there's just no fluff and nonsense. So the planner itself, just to give you kind of a quick little run through, is, got 3 years worth of dates in the very front, first page. Then this is a little bit different. I'm not quite sure how I'm using it this year, but it's where it tracks where you have the days of the month down the side. So this would be the 7th month. The 14th day of, oh, here we go. If we did the 14th day of August, it's going to be a Friday. And so they run up and down here. So you can put little things and track certain things in this area. I'm still on the fence as to how I want to use this year. I'm going to be thinking about that a little bit more. And then you go straight into your monthly setup, which I love having at the beginning of the book. I think it's fantastic. It's huge, nice page, plenty of things I can write on. And so it goes through, you've got all of your months all the way until you hit the last week of, make sure that this is correct. Well, actually, you get the whole month of December. That's pretty cool. So it basically starts the first week here in December. So this would be Thanksgiving that just went past. So you have a lot of extra space here, extra pages. You can go ahead and get started with your December if you want to. I probably will end up using these for various things that I might be tracking. To me, this is just extra pages because I do have my old one, which I will continue. So this was my old one from last year. And as you can tell, just kind of flipping through it, I do have a tendency to use my planner. And I really like having it. It has all these ideas and things. So this has been a year's worth. I'll finish this out this year. So those will be some extra pages at the front that I can do what I want with, which is kind of cool. But here, if we start, and this is the beginning of January 1st. So you have week 1, and that's one thing I like. It tells you the January 1st. It's actually December and January that you can see here, but week 1, and then it's got the month, and it's got it marked over here as far as what week you're in, which I like. But this is the whole reason I really love this planner, is that it's horizontal here, and then I have my lovely grid paper over here, and it's worked for me for many, many years. Moleskine has something very similar. This one I just like a lot better. It feels a little bigger slightly, and Moleskine has a lot at the beginning of the book, or the beginning of the journal, that I just think is filler that I don't need. And I used sticky notes and stuff to cover it all the time. And then this is the other favorite part of this book, is if you go here to the back. So if you look, again, this one is taking us all the way through the first month of January. So all of these could be extra pages if I start my week 1. So these are extra pages for me to use as I want. And of course it goes straight through to December. So I think it's 20 some odd pages that are the grid, that are blank, for me to do as I want and to create things as I want. And now that I'm looking at this, I have all kinds of new ideas coming through, but I've already started prepping for this year for a lot of the things I wanted to track with my reading. And I went out and watched quite a few different bullet journal ideas regarding readings and tracking readings. You're reading, and I came up with some ideas that I wanted to track that all go to support what I'm really focusing on this year. And so this is going to be a few of the pages that I do and create so that I can be a little bit more focused with my reading. So let's just get started. So one way of focusing, here I'll bring you in a little bit closer maybe, You can see I've already sketched this out in pencil, and I do suggest that with everybody. And since I have my lovely handy dandy, well, pardon my reach, Derwent eraser, once I get done, it's pretty easy to go in and erase the pencil marks. But really and truly, one of the things is I want to try to keep myself accountable. I did pretty well of not buying a lot of new books last year. You know, I had quite an ordeal in January when I lost so many books that it really put an impression upon me that I probably needed to be a little bit more pickier about what I buy and what I bring into the house, and also start getting through the stuff that I have bought, because there were a lot of books that I lost that I was really upset about losing. But I have to tell you, so far it's not been the majority of them. As I've been going through my Goodreads and realizing, nope, I don't have that book anymore. Yes, I still have this book or whatever. A lot of those books I was like, well, you know, those were ones I just kind of picked up. So I wasn't that upset as I thought. So it told me I needed to be a little bit more aware. I also would like to start using my local library more, and I feel guilty doing that if I've got books on a shelf that I need to be reading. And I just need to make some hard decisions, and I'm hoping that this will help. So the first thing I'm working on right here is going to be my DNF donate versus bought sheet. So this is kind of a reading balance sheet is what I'm calling it. And I'm going to go ahead and start going through and show you. All I'm going to do is I am using a Faber Castel Pitt artist pen, and let's see, we're going to go for the XS and just see how that works. All right, so you'll see that I wrote down read, DNF'd, and donate. So these are the books that, you know, are going to get off of my shelf somehow. The idea being I'm either going to read it, I'm either going to DNF it, and then also hopefully the idea is that I will donate it. So even if I DNF'd or if I read it, it's going to go onto a donation. Yeah, so the next thing that you're going to see is it's bought. So versus my bought. It's a balance sheet, and balance sheets usually are what's incoming and what's outgoing, and that's kind of the idea. Of course, what I would like is it to eventually be that there's more that's leaving than is staying. Should I stay or should I go now? That is the idea. And I kind of want to keep a track of this to keep myself motivated with the things that I've been talking about that I want to do, which is reducing the amount of physical books that I have, getting through them, making decisions about them. Am I going to keep them or am I going to just get rid of them? And how am I going to get through that process? Because sometimes we buy books and then we don't remember why we bought them. And so in an effort to really fight my TBR this year, my physical TBR, my Kindle, my e-reader, I've come up with a couple plans. And this is one that will track all of those different formats for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up over here and I'm going to make my columns. Okay, so now I've got all my major lines. Now it's about putting in the titles and what exactly am I tracking and how's this balance sheet going to work. So the first thing that we're going to do is make sure that we list the month that we're tracking. So there we have the month. And then, so in this case, we'll just do, there's going to be January as our first month. So there's January. And what we're tracking is it a plus or a minus? So it's going to be, did I read a shelved book that month? So these are my books that are on my shelf. So I'm going to say shelved book, physical. Think of it as a physical book. And so if I did, that's a minus. That's taking them off of that shelf, so to speak. Did I buy any books? Books bought during that month. And that's going to be a plus because now I've added. Did I listen to any audiobooks? That would be a minus off my audiobook. And did I buy any audio? So you can see how this is kind of going. So these are the ones that I have bought in that January month. Then I go on to my ebook. So for me, they're all on my Kindle. My ebook, so any ebook read. And that's a minus because that's coming off my Kindle shelf, in my case, Kindle. Or did I just go ahead and buy? Now, I have tons of samples that I've sent to my Kindle, so I don't count those, but it's anyone that I've already bought. So, but if I buy one of those samples, if I read it, decide to buy it and buy it in the e-format, that would be a plus. And then, of course, you have your total. And that's going to be minuses or pluses. So hopefully all we're seeing is here either -3, +2, whatever along the way, and then I'll have my total for each month is the idea. And if we go down, of course, we'll just finish out the rest of my months. I've done this in a very small format because I don't really want to take up tons of my space in my planner, but I hope this is going to be big enough for me to be able to write and keep track of. Alright, so that's basically it. I'm going to let this dry and then I'll go back over it with my eraser to get rid of all the pre-done marks with the pencil that I had. So now I'm just going to finish out the lines here. So based on an old-fashioned ledger that accountants would use, you just got your series of plus and minuses, and hopefully what I'd love to see is my totals be more negative in this case. I actually want to go, quote, into the red, which is the negative, meaning that I've gotten rid of more books than I've brought in some form. So All right, so there is my reading DNF donated versus bought sheet, balance sheet, and how I'm going to have that set up. So let me just go ahead and, like I said, I'm just going to go through and use my little handy dandy eraser. That'll help me get rid of all the kind of sketched out and planned out areas. So it's a pretty simple layout, as you can see, but I'm hoping it is a way for me to physically and visually see what I'm doing as far as with my shell books and all of those, and kind of keeping track and trying to maybe every time that I go and think, oh, I want to go out to Book Outlet or World of Books or Better World of Books or Book Depository or Amazon or any of those, you know, that I really kind of take a look at this and go, do I really want to put that plus in there? And will I read it? So is there a purpose for the book that I'm buying? I'm hoping. I'm hoping to do that. By no means does any of this mean that I can't buy a book or I can't be gifted a book or anything. That's, you know, it's just, I think this is more just so that you're more aware. That's all it is. It's building awareness. So that is my red DNF donate versus bought balance sheet.